Good afternoon, everyone. How are we today? Welcome, 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 welcome. Um, Perhaps there may be some structure live from the loft for a change. Apologies, no rambling. Well, not. But anyway, welcome everyone to the loft. Um, what a week! What a crazy and weird and bizarre week. Well, IT, everything. I think I need to adjust. Gate. Hi. Oh, we got Lumbly. We got Jason. Oh, God. But now I'm wondering if someone has actually replaced Jason, because Jason actually said that he'd buy a unified device. I'm pretty sure someone's cloned him and had a brain transfer. Something's gone wrong with Jason. Actually stated, and I have it captured, that he would buy a unified device. Rich, welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, Gate's cutting me off. Hold on. I need to tweak. I was doing some tweaking and I broke some stuff. Let's tweak away. Sorry about this. Put that back to default. See if that's any better. Hopefully it will be. It might cut me a bit. I've got to really spend some time sorting out my audio, but I haven't got the time at the moment to do it. Blame the alcohol. Yes, blame the alcohol. Anyway, yeah, it's been quite an interesting week on the Unify front. It's obviously been quite an interesting week on the YouTube front with obviously everything that went on with LMG. Yeah, it's well, where to begin? I might as well start at the beginning. The Dreamwall finally dropped to the point where I can actually talk to you about it, which makes a change. So I have had the EA Dreamwall now for must be coming up 6 months. Basically, I bought it when it was announced in EA, and I've done little snippets. I've dropped a few little bits on it where I can, and the bits I can get away with. But obviously, I've never been able to tell you the good, the bad, the indifferent about it. Yes, it's quite a unique device, and it's interesting. It's already causing a disturbance amongst tech people, because it's different, and it's different in ways that make people actually have to think why they do things. Now, I'm going to put this out there. I like it. I don't like this version of it, but I like the concept, I like the idea, and I like where it's going. And I'm hoping Ubiquity actually listen to some of us when we say it's good, but it's not quite right, and you could have done better. But we'll see. That's it. He's fed up now. I'm talking about Unify. But yes, the Dreamwall itself, because of its form factor, unfortunately, mine is downstairs and I can't bring it up, because if I bring it up, I can't stream to you, because it is actually providing my main internet. And it has been doing so very reliably since I basically put it in a couple of months back. So I've had real world experience of running with it, using it, and I can make use of it to do a real world review. Not just, I'm not going to do an unboxing. There's plenty of people, crosstalk. I'm sure Cody will be along to do an unboxing of his at some point. Don't need to do that. That's not what I do. I'd rather give you a real world, real use perspective, rather than a, oh, it won't do this because of this reason. Sort of theoreticals. So, as I've said, I like it. It's a good product that needs to be improved upon, and I'm hoping we get. Obviously, there's the rumored Dream Machine Pro, which we've seen snippets of from Ubiquity in their kit, in their videos. I'm hoping maybe we get a Dreamwall Pro and a Dreamwall. We might get a Dreamwall SE maybe, or a yeah, a Dreamwall thing. Yes, I've just that's what I was literally. I kind of knocked the stream back sort of 50. I was gonna go live at 1800 in so 6 o'clock GMT, but I knocked it back because I had a few videos to catch up on. I caught up on Chris's review, and again, I think because he's looking at it from the I've unboxed this. Where does this fit into my network? That's not what it's for, and that's the problem. He's looking at it from a how could I make use of this in my network? And that's where it doesn't work. It's not designed for a typical classical rack built network. It doesn't work in that network at all. It's a pain in the ass in that situation. It's designed to be the center of the network. It's designed for a home, small business, bar, restaurant, things like that, where you haven't necessarily got room for a rack, but you need expandability and maybe a small protect install, reasonable internet speed, some wireless. Potentially, you've got something coming in, that sort of thing. So that's where it is. Yeah, the Theta. Hold on. No. I've got my Theta is here. I will, and the camera is sat under this little switch here, which show you that in a minute, and we can have a play with that because again, that's another weird product. But what I'll do actually, let me click over to here. So I've actually got this is my Dreamwall. This is my, and you can see that it's my Dreamwall that I am using. This is what I'm streaming to you now. So if I click something and I break something, I may disappear. But again, this is actually everything that's in use at the moment on my Dreamwall. You can see here, this is my own home internal network. I've got switches hung off of it all over the place. I've got my cameras hung off of it. I've got lights off of it. My doorbell is not hung off of it at the moment because my doorbell is here because I've been using it for testing. But the actual device is quite a step away from ubiquity. Again, it's a step away from the ubiquity of old. Let me hop into the store a minute so we can get some external pictures, and I'll tell you why I think it's a good idea. So long as you use it. I don't think they've updated. No, we haven't got it here in Europe yet. It's only in America. So let's network. I don't even think they've got it on the console page. Yeah. Oh yeah, they have now. Right, there we go. So I've obviously got the EA version. So my version has got the small screen on the front. The GA version has got a much bigger screen on the front, which, yes, it looks good. I mean, it's a much better use of the real estate of the Dreamwall. The Dreamwall originally with the tiny screen may work. No, mine's going to probably eventually mine will migrate up to either that wall or the wall over there because my parents have got a Dream router. They don't need any more. This is the way to look at the normal Dreamwall. Again, is like step up from what the Dream router is designed to be. So the Dream router is your home entry level, basic level of protect, basic level of everything, small throughput, Wi-Fi 6 device. This is the jump up from that. This is where you want a bit more expandability out. You want a bit more coverage, a few more cameras in protect. Maybe you're looking at door access potentially for a few things, so small business. This is effectively where they're targeting these products at. Interestingly, I don't know, I did hear Chris say that they've made a change, and I again haven't had any confirmation of this, and I don't think there is a change. No, there's not. Basically, that, as far as I'm aware, I mean, that even looks photoshopped on. I'm pretty sure that is photoshopped. That is the only real difference, the actual screen between the version I have downstairs and the GA version. And I haven't had confirmation from Ubiquiti yet, but I have asked the question, what have you changed, if anything? So we'll see. The basics of the Dreamwall are you use it as the hub of your network. You have it mounted on a wall, in a cupboard, potentially. One thing that's a lot more common over in America than we have in the UK are, again, small cabinets for holding electrical stuff. Can't remember their exact name because we don't use them hardly at all over here. They're very, very uncommon. But in a modern house, clean build house, you might not have room for a rack. Don't have understairs cupboards anymore. Very few cupboards at all. This sort of thing can sit out the way, on side, on a wall, chase the cabling into the wall through a brush hole. So the whole issue that people were saying with stop anything with it have published anyway. So the whole issue with the network cables coming out the top isn't that much of an issue if, or you put, for example, where you're going to mount this, if you put a brush slot into the wall, and then all you're doing is effectively pulling cables back from either sockets around the house or around the business, or you're running them from this location to a flex switch to a switch light. This was Ubiquiti's actual idea behind this form factor. This form factor was built to be different for a reason. It's not there to prop up effectively the 19-inch rack. There's plenty of things to do that. The Dream Machine Pro, Dream Machine SE, UXG Pro, all of that isn't going anywhere. This is for homes and small businesses where there's no room for that. That's the whole point of it. And that's where I actually quite like it. We've already got ideas for businesses where this will be perfect because it means we can get rid of racks that are sat in the middle of an office that are running maybe a 24 port switch. Yeah, this is it. The idea is that you use it's for things where you're not trying to hide everything, but you're trying to make it clean without having a giant rack stuck out of the wall, effectively eliminating, to a certain degree, half a meter of space next to a wall in a huge area. If you've got a rack there, you've lost 1 meter square of state effectively, which in a small office can be quite significant. Because you're going to need access to the front of the rack to open it, or to patch stuff in. This, you need half that space because you just pop the lid off, open the lid up, lift off the top, and you've got access to everything. But then the idea is you're not going to be doing that every day, and this is one of the things. You're not going to be in and out of this because where you're plugging devices in isn't directly to this. You're running a cable from here, from top of the Dream Machine, to maybe a Flex Mini that sat on the wall under a desk, and then you're running the cables from those to the individual computers, or you run it to a Flex XG or a Flex switch that's powering, say, 4 VoIP phones, so 4 talk phones on a desk. It's all about modularity in a different way. Now, that's where I say I really like this, and I really like the thoughts behind where this is going as a product. Where it needs improvement, however, is quite simply put, it's got 2 power supplies. It does not need power supplies. They're 550 watt power supplies in there, and they're kind of a bit redundant because you only actually have 1 power cable going in, so you haven't got redundancy of power source. All you have is redundancy if one fails. That is not necessarily a great idea. side picture. There we go. There's the best picture. So, bring it side. There we go. So, having two power supplies on the side here makes no difference. You have one there, and you replace the other one with 2.5-inch bay, or a twin 2.5-inch bay would have made more sense. Maybe a pair of 2.5-inch SSDs, 1 terabyte discs in a RAID. So you've got a small amount of storage into say a CloudKey Gen 2, but with a RAID array on it to gives you a bit of redundancy. That would be really, really beneficial. But that's one of the problems. You're dealing with first of its type. At the moment, this is technically a step up from the Dream router, so it still uses an SD card, store, protect, lie. So the continuous record stores it to the SD card, according to UBC, but I'm not sure how true this is. The motion detection and everything else is stored within the internal SSD, which is only 128 gig, same as the exactly the same as the Dream Machine SE. So it's kind of half and half. It could have been better. They need to work on that, and they need to maybe take this, move it on to potentially a Dreamwall SE, maybe something like that, and give us the option of, instead of PSU1, PSU2, it should just be PSU hard disk, or as other people have been put across, something that potentially is coming with the Pro. The Pro had a small module supposed to sit alongside it that's got the power redundancy in it and a small battery backup. Maybe you should have the option, so you could have, say, a small battery in there and a hard disk, something like that. Just something that is not. Oh, there's more than enough. Yeah, there's more than enough room in there, easily for 2.5-inch drives. No problem at all. You'd fit them in there with room to spare. Those power adapters, if you have a look on my TikTok, I popped one out. They are fairly large. They're custom because they're 57 volt. They're not 12 volt. They're 57 volt on one of the lines. So they're designed to run the PoE. They're obviously, because with the switch on this, back now. There we go. So with the switch on this, you've got PoE, PoE Plus, and PoE Plus Plus. So just in 4 ports of this, you've got 60. Just those 4 ports alone, that's 240 watts of potential power. If they're 60 watt PoE plus plus, then 90 watt PoE plus plus, which I haven't checked. You're looking at almost 90. You're looking at almost 350 watts of power just on those 4 ports alone. 30, 60, 90, 120. So you've got another 120 watts of power there. And then you've got another 60 watts. So again, if you were using all the PoE to full capacity, and I would surmise they will be 60 watts, you've probably got 400 watts of PoE there, if not more. The question was asked, why are these 4 PoE? That will be one of the reasons. It's just down to budget. Heat will be another factor, but yeah. What's the winch in my loft for? The winch in my loft is because my loft, my house, the loft height is rather large and the loft hatch is rather small. All of my servers are up here. UPSs, everything is up here, and to get it up here, I have to carry it through a loft hatch. I need to do a video on that at some. But the winch is there to carry servers up through the loft hatch. I'll show you it on the camera in a minute as to what it's there. But it is purely and simply there to lift the heavy stuff up through the loft hatch and lower it down again when I finish with it. Yeah, this is it's for me to to save me putting me back out trying to carry a server, or I've got multiple APC 3000 UPSs up here. I'm sure my loft woodwork is ridiculously strong, but there's still a lot of weight. But yes, because I do all of my work now up here with the heavy stuff, I need to get it up through the hatch. But yes, so looking back, yeah, the thoughts behind people worrying about what you're doing here, yes, you can either chase it in with just some nice surface mount trunking. Where is it gone? I know I brought halfway through tidying my loft, and then I made it messy again. Somewhere up here is some cable tie. Again, I've been tempted to. The problem is it runs off of a beam up there, and the winch is only rated at 100 kilos unless you double it up. And I'm not the lightest. Let's put it that way. I'd probably give it a good test. I'm trying to find out. Oh, I brought it up here. God knows. It's here somewhere. There's some cable tidies, and it is trunking with holes cut in the side. And again, that's the idea. It would be perfect for that, and I might even mount some up in top of mine. No, probably tidied it up. I'll find it. One of the many things I'm missing up here. Anyway, so yes, yeah, 400 watts. You got to think this is what people look at this and just think it's a 16 port switch. It's not. It's got PoE plus plus, which means you can run full blown. You can run access off of it. You could run 4-access. Yeah, ITK abandons. Yeah. You can run 4-access hubs off this. That's the whole sort of thing about this. Or you could run. You could very easily run off the PoE plus, or in fact the PoE plus plus. You could run 4 flex switches off that, all running 4 devices off their ports. So the whole, it's not enough switch ports. You have to change your method of thinking with it. You have to think of this as a central hub, but you then go out to the switching rather than consolidating all the switching back into one point. This is your main point. That may be why Ubiquity thought, you know what, we'll hit this out with 2 PSUs, because obviously their thinking is it's going to be under quite a bit of load, and if something is going to fail, it will probably be the power supply. Therefore, we'll include a second one. My complaint around that. So let me go into my Dreamwall a minute. So this is my Dreamwall. And as you can see, most of the data that I spend goes up to Backblaze, which is backing stuff up here. So look. So you can see here, power availability. Obviously, they rate this at 420 watts. So 420 watts is what you'll be able to have as a PoE budget, which would tie in with it being 60 watts on PoE plus ports. Statistics. So you can see you have power supply insights. You can see how much load you're putting. And again, if you understand how loading on power supplies is supposed to be, power supplies are most efficient at around 80% load. So the more closer you are to 80% of the load on a power supply, the more efficient your power supply is. Having two power supplies actually uses a lot more power than having just one in this situation. So I've got, what, 45 watts in over two power supplies. If I had 45 watts in use over one power supply, actually that power supply would be more efficient, and actually the system a little less power. But is what it is. I could pop one of the power supplies out and it would obviously then just load up one power supply. I did raise actually in the early days of this with Ubiquiti that when you pop a power supply out, it should come up with a big red flag saying there's a power supply gone down, but it doesn't. Welcome back. We're still on the Dreamwall, Jason. So we were just going through. I've gone through all the good bits. Now I'm going through the negative bit. So yes, this again, it makes sense in one part if you think about how this is supposed to be the central hub of how your system works. But on the other hand, you would do better to have, yes, a hot swappable power supply maybe, but not actually have it or be able to buy spares, because you can't actually buy these power supplies. They're not available from the Unify site. So if one does go down, at the moment you can't buy the parts. Whether that's going to change, I don't know. Whether if you speak to Ubiquiti, maybe it's an RMA thing. Yes, I mean it's a different solution. It's a different way of packaging that solution, and it's a different way of thinking about how you build out a network. It's not the old-fashioned now way of, got a small business or a home, you don't have to put a rack in. That's the way to think of this product. It's not perfect. Hopefully Dreamwall Pro, when that appears, will be a better version of this. Hopefully they'll do a revision on this to include hard disks, maybe look at getting rid of one of the power supplies. So a hard disk caddy or twin hard disk caddy would be preferential. Potentially built-in UPS backup. That opens up a few problems depending on the country, because obviously probably be lithium, and there are some caveats around that. We use lithium UPSs, but again, that is a question. But other than that, the idea, I mean, I've already got a Flex and a Flex Mini being powered off this. Where is my Flex? In fact, no, I've got 3 switches actually being powered off this. I have got the US8, which is my switch, which is actually up in the rack below me here. That is used to for my HA sophoses and for any internet connections I need up here. I've got a switch Flex, which is out powering a couple of the G3 Flex cameras. And the Flex Mini, that's powered off of the Switch 16 PoE, which is in my office, which occasionally I will do a stream from there if I don't need to be up here for whatever reason. But that's, again, this is the whole aspect. The idea is to get rid of the central rack. It's not going to be right for everyone, though. So that's the key point on. Just because it can do it, and just because you can do it this way, doesn't mean this is right for everyone. Chances are most businesses will still want a rack because there will be other equipment that go in. But a lot of businesses, and as I've said, we've already thought of a few where this will be perfect. Bars, restaurants, hotels, things like that. Again, perfectly good use cases available for this product. So, yes, the Dreamwall. It's good. It's not perfect yet, but it's got the potential to turn a few installs on their head. So, part 2, the AI Theta. Yeah. Um, Can't say I've actually heard of anyone doing a car install of Ubiquiti kit quite some time. We've done some. I've got to build a couple more. I've built some mobile racks for diagnostic vans for truck dealerships that have got Sophoses in them and Ubiquiti APs. I would be. It would be interesting to try and put a Dreamwall in a van. But say, I mean, I'll say this: a Dream Router, on the other hand, would be a lovely little device to have sat in a camper van or a caravan or an RV. Jason's back. Someone swapped his brain while he. So yes. Anyway, right. The AI Theta. So let me. In fact, I'll switch back a second. Yeah, we know Jason really does. Right. So the AI Theta. First things first. Obviously, these are the camera modules. Now, obviously, when they launched this, I grabbed it in EA, obviously, and it comes with the two initial modules. So that is the normal. That's just an 8 megapixel standard. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is the 8 megapixel normal point directly at things camera. They're doing a longer range version soon. That pop in. Don't know if they. Um, no, they haven't shown it there yet. Early access. This is, yeah, it's a really silly idea, I think, that they've done that but so it's la la la. So obviously you've got, when you buy the AI Theta, it comes with 360, comes with a normal lens. They are doing an option in the future. Yeah, the problem is if I do that, hello, if I can do that and I can bring it right up there, and I don't like it because it's my face. But I can hopefully make things a bit better with that. The Again, they're going to do a version with a long distance lens, which is interesting. Purely and simply because I'm guessing that's so you can mount these sort of things out the way and focus on something like a doorway, or have it potentially focused if they make it waterproof on a maybe on a gate or something like that. And when they actually announced this product with the UI innovation, with the UI innovations video, they added or they showed the angled mount. Now, when you buy this, it comes with, and this is the weird part, it comes with two flush mounts. So it actually comes with two of these. Now that's the flush mount wall mount. So obviously the idea behind that is you drill a hole in the wall, you put the that's a G5 bullet. That is waterproof. The G4 bullet, again, waterproof. The AI, not the AI bullet, waterproof. The AI 360 is, I call it splash proof. I wouldn't put it out in direct water. Cody found out the hard way what happens when an AI 360 gets wet. But hey ho. So to mount this, you're drilling a hole that big in the wall, and you need to put that the other side of the wall, poke it through, and obviously clamp it on, and it will clamp up against it. and there's a gasket around the back. And then obviously once that's in, you line the camera up. Popcorn. There's no, the Theta is not water. This is the thing. This is not waterproof. This is not IP rated in the slightest. Because it's got a USB-C socket on the back, and there's no O-rings. There's nothing around it. This is an indoor use camera only. It's a bit strange, and again, it's because you have to have the so you've got the AI control unit. This has to sit somewhere. You've got the cables that are coming off it. Again, there's no waterproofing on this end. There's no waterproofing on this end. That's the speaker and microphone unit. Again, that has to go with it if you want to get any sound to and from. So, yeah, it's... I understand their thinking of this. This is for places, for example, shops, where you've got drop ceilings, and you can sit things like this or mount things like this up above the ceiling, and it's out the way. It's fine. Potentially you'd have these all mounted on a wall, and you can see what with ease, because it's got lovely little LCD screen on it. In fact, let me grab the camera up here. Here we go. So you can see the little screen on here that says what it's doing and how it's doing it. It's an odd device. I can understand the logic behind it. Yeah, it's all about aesthetics. Well, this is the whole point, and even they say so. It's interior design professionals. That's their... So it's the world's first security camera system designed for interior design professionals. So the whole idea of this is to have the camera out of sight. Which, yes, it makes sense, but then it also takes away from the aspect that CCTV is there as a deterrent, not to be hidden out the way. It also means that I mean, I suppose nowadays the prevailing thought maybe that they're going on is that everywhere is assumed to have CCTV, so why not make the CCTV less visible so you don't know where it is? And also alongside that, yes, if you think, I mean, we deal with commercial truck dealerships, and as a side of that, now we're dealing with more of the we've always dealt with automotive. Now I'll use this as an example. If you're an automotive dealership, you have a brand standard, and a lot of other places have this. So you've got your brand standard, which defines how areas are supposed to look. Now, if you have a car showroom, for example, van showroom, and it has to be clean and clear, without cameras stuck out everywhere, then maybe this sort of thing would make sense, because you'd have these, say, in the roof, and you wouldn't notice a small round hole or a small round lens up against, say, a smoke detector or a light fixture, that sort of things. And the same in cafes. Again, you'd have these... Yeah, there's certain aesthetics where you'd have this tucked out the way. And if you want a nice clean aesthetic, you don't want suddenly a camera or a dome stuck out, or even a flex. I mean, the G3/G5 flexes. I mean, they're not bad looking devices, but they're not necessarily pretty. I mean, yeah, there's no reason why you could not spray paint the front of that and its mount a different color. There's that's not an issue. I don't think you'd have an issue if you spray painted that. Mask off the lens and job done. You could make that blend very easily. But at the same time, you eliminate the deterrent factor anyway. And also, I don't know where you would stand, because the idea is when you say to people, CCTV is recording in these locations, people expect to be able to see where they're being recorded from. Now, if you're hiding this, I don't quite know where you would stand. Maybe you might know a bit more. Again, it's going to vary per country. Here, UK wise, you have to be aware that there are certain data protection laws in effect. Things do tend to have to be quite visible. So if you are recording things, you can't hide it as much. You're not supposed to, because people are supposed to be aware that they're being recorded. So it's always a balancing act. I don't quite know where they're thinking is going with this one. It's not cheap. I mean, that's the other aspect of this. I mean, I'll switch back to real world with proper currency. You self in Australia being. So again, it is a very different take on what they're thinking of. I don't think they've got any sort of installation photos. You can see the sort of the smallness, and again, obviously having this unit, the speaker slash microphone unit as a separate unit. Yeah, I mean, potentially the idea, as you said, Rich. Yeah, there's the possibility in the future that maybe they'll do a hub or a central, a centrally mounted hub that you can run multiple cameras off. In the future, maybe that will be a thing. Yeah, I'd have to look into it a bit further. As far as I'm aware, in the UK, yes, you have to state if you are recording for the intention of using that recording in a court of law, for example, things like that. And if you are a business, you have to state that you are recording. You also have to be registered over here if you're a business and you're recording with the ICO. So if you're storing CCTV recordings, you as a business have to be registered as someone who stores data, and people have to be aware where they can get the recordings to request, for example, that they're on the GDPR side of things, that they be removed if needs be. So it's a small minefield, but there are things around that. So yes, I mean, small speaker, great, and again, it looks, yeah, the whole of Europe, a GDPR over here, is in one hand a really great thing, but in the other hand can be a logistical headache for certain companies, but is also, from our side, finally a really good justification of why businesses need to be efficient and clean and sensible with their data, especially when they're dealing with the public. It's something that, with everything that is going on in social media, I'm sure everyone is aware of the laughable state of the TikTok Congress things. Yeah. Oh, they're trying. The UK government is trying. It's not going to succeed. What they want is to be. It's not that they want to get rid of encryption. They want the ability to decrypt things, without effectively having to notify people that they've been decrypted, and it won't ever see the light of day. Yeah, I think it's about £300 to. Last time I checked, it may have gone up or down with the IC. I can't remember. It's just one of those things that yeah, you pay the information commissioner to tell them that you're storing your data. I know it's weird, but it's silly. But at the say, there's a lot of. I mean, the UK and Europe, in terms of data protection, there's certain websites in America that we cannot access because American companies, if they start dealing with UK people, have to comply with GDPR aspects because they're dealing with European citizens' data, and they don't want to, and they can't. But on the flip side, there's a lot of companies in America that are actually trying to bring themselves up to the GDPR standard, even though it's not a requirement. Yeah, this is it. I mean, that was, if you've seen anything on it, I mean, that was from this side of the pond. It was laughable, but at the same time, if America implemented something along the lines of GDPR, number one, it would be great for IT businesses, because it would supply them with work probably for the next 20 years. On the other hand, it would bring in um, it would bring some of the social media companies to heel, because over here in Europe, in all of the EU and the UK, the social media companies have to comply with GDPR, which means they have to keep the data uh, correct. They have to keep it relevant. They have to only keep it for as long as is needed, not forever. And they have to comply when a European and UK citizen requests that their data be deleted. It has to be deleted. Um, that's an oversimplification of it, but it has helped bring social media companies in Europe into a bit of alignment. What they're dealing with, what they're dealing with over in America, is because there's no regulation on it, there's this fear being spread, and it's mostly being spread by, um, ironically, social media companies that don't like the fact that they've been left behind. Personally, from myself, um, I like TikTok because it enables me to reply quickly and efficiently to people when they're asking questions on kit like this. I can engage with people a lot simpler via TikTok than via YouTube Shorts, for example. And I mean, I don't even bother with Facebook and Instagram anymore, really. I post the odd little bit to them, but there's just no engagement on those platforms. TikTok is all about community engagement. It's not perfect, but it's getting better. YouTube, on the other hand, is great for stuff like this, where I can do a live, engage with you guys back and forth. Sort of, if again, I do try and do this. If I can't do this weekly, I do it sort of every other week, if I can, um, because I have to work this around my main job and my life. I mean, this is the thing. I'm as I'd love to be a full-time content creator, but then I'd have to lose my main job to do that, and I haven't got the time at the moment. It doesn't bring in enough money to cover the fact that I need to run a company. It's, I take it you don't like TikTok. You need to join us. Don't worry, we'll change your mind so soon. Um, but it's that sort of thing. Being able to, I do my videos on YouTube because I enjoy doing them, not because I make money out of them in any great capacity. In fact, not in any great capacity at all. I've only just made it past the monetization. But that is something that comes from data protection. Over here, yes, you have to. We go into businesses, and you find businesses that are holding people's personal data from 20 years ago, and the first thing you have to say is, what's your justification for keeping that? And if they can't justify it, you say you need to delete it. And they'll throw up oh, but I need that. Why? Because I might need to email them. Have you asked them? It's on what I mean, it cut down the amount of spam. I don't know where to go with that one, Jason, because it's not any different from like Discord or Facebook. The only difference is, instead of, and this is the irony, the like the CEO of TikTok is from Singapore, studied in the UK and studied in America, and they're actually homing all their data over to America for American clients, and they will have had to have been homing their data in Europe for the European clients because that's GDPR. The balancing act always will be. It's it doesn't matter what you do. There's If you're using a platform that's free, someone somewhere is going to want information, data to sell. That's what pays for the platform. You are the product. So it goes back to that old thing. Same with Facebook, same with Twitter, same with Instagram, same with all social media. If it's free, you are the product. So that's it. Right, slight sidetrack. Let's get back to the camera, shall we? Stop distracting me, Jason. It's your fault. So anyway, I've got the 360 camera. I'm trying to think of somewhere I could mount this camera. And if I go here, this is a G5 bullet. That's that G5 bullet, obviously. That's the AI 360 looking at the same location. See the mess, the piles of sophoses. It's not the mic. This mic is really good. It's the fact that I've got the gate set wrong on it. Let me just see if I can tweak the gate a bit further. Well, actually, I know what I can do. You will have to... Let's get rid of the gate. And let's get rid of the expander. How's that? That should be a bit better because I've just got rid of the noise gate. There is a degree of noise filtering going on because otherwise you'll pick up the whir of fans because there's so much kit running up here. It's actually warm up here today for a change. I have had the extractor fan on. How's that? Right, yeah, this is obviously the AI 360, not the AI 360, this is the Theta with the 360 camera on. I can obviously de-warp the video and turn on movement. And I can move around and have a look. And zoom in, there you go, there's the winch. So, to answer your question earlier on, why have I got a winch? Because everything up here has had to come up through that hole. Let's go back up there. So yeah, let's see if I can view it in full screen. Whee! There we go. Let's go full screen. So, there we go. That's the 360 lens. I can't hot swap the lenses because if I unplug it, I say that. I don't think I could hot swap the lenses. Last time I tried this, it didn't work. We end up with no camera detected. Hold on. Maybe. Just maybe. You can now hot swap the lenses. That's new. That never used to work. I tried this before. So that's the normal lens. Let's put it side by side against the... Look at that. So that's it next to a bullet. Now the bullet has a bit of a wider field of view. Whee! There I am. Doesn't seem to be as susceptible to the cheap lighting I've got up here. So that's, again, the same view. That's a G5 bullet. Yeah, I mean, I could mount the 360 up high up there. The way I have to look at this, though, is this is £300 worth of CCTV camera that can't see anything in the night. So if I... That's the camera off. So that's nighttime. And the only thing you can see as you can see here, the G5, we've got full night vision. The AI Theta, that's a color. There's no IR filter that engages on it. So again, potentially limits its entire sort of use case, because it's no good in a shop to monitor after hours when all the lights have gone out. Right, I need to turn the light back on. Can't see something. That's better. And we'll wait for the IR filter to click back off on the G5. There we go. So, yeah, at night, it is useless. So, that's some of the problem. If you're installing a Theta, my thoughts on use case for this is going to be like hotel reception lobbies where the lights are on 24/7. If the lights go off, it's because there's a power cut. That's my thought. And again, shop fronts, so shop areas where the lights are on all the time unless there's a power cut. That's the use case for this device. No, it can't. This is it. There is an IR emitter because the G5 Bullet's got an IR emitter on it. That's the silly thing. I thought maybe it just didn't have IR on it, as in it didn't have. Obviously, there was no IR emitter, therefore it just needed one. That's why one of the reasons why the G5 is up here, because at night when I turn the lights off up here, the G5 IR emitter turns on, and then the first thing I was quite surprised at was when it was still pitch black on the Theta, yet the G5 and the G4 that I had prior to that were absolutely fine. And then I went and looked at the specs, and it's like, no, there's no night vision on it. So that's where it narrows its use case down really, really massively, because it's no good for use. You can't use it outside. You can't use it in the dark. You can't really use it anywhere at the moment where you need it angled to look at specific things. It has to be flush mounted because they haven't yet done effectively a bullet mount for it. So its use cases are very, very thin and very, very slim. It's a shame, really. Let's just switch it back over. Line it up as well. Give it a second to boot back up again. There we go, back onto the old so obviously the 360, I mean the de-warped image on the 360 camera is great. So if you have this, again, I compare it to the AI 360 because it's the same ease of use. As you can see, there's sophoses everywhere in here at the moment. So ease of use wise, and I mean that's staring straight at a light. It's actually coping with that very, very well. It has the same issue that the AI 360 does, in that for a 12 megapixel camera, I mean, I'll put it in high quality. Is that 8 megapixel mode it said there? Yeah, 8 megapixel. So the quality, even though it says 12 meg, it's not brilliant. Let's take a picture and see what it does. See if that's any better. Give it a second. Oh, that worked well. So when you take a picture, it's not de-warped, and again, it's not amazing quality. It's not a 12 megapixel image. So yes, I haven't yet. Mainly because I don't have a USB-C port on anything at the moment. Because like a standard IT guy, I fix everyone else's kit and I'm left with the older kit. Have I got? Let's try it, shall we? Let me just unplug. If I crash, it's Blue Iris's fault. The other interesting fact, it's a shame I can't take a picture of that, is, let's take that off. On the back, again, these are different shaped ports. Although they're USB-C, let's have a look, see if we get anything. No. No, it doesn't pick anything up. Make sure I haven't blown it up. Out of interest, I am interested in what happens if you plug this in. No. Oh no, there you go. USB advanced audio device. So let's just see if I can play anything through it, shall we? No, let's grab me. Let's see if I come out through the speakers. No. No, I don't come out through the speakers. One thing I also noticed is if you plug this in, oh no, it's picked it up this time. There must have been a firmware update. It used to be if you plug this in while that is still on, it didn't pick that up. It does now, so there's obviously been a mild update since last time. I'm just going to have a look. Has that gone away or is that... Yeah. So it picks it up actually as a USB audio device, but you can't play anything through it. I haven't got... Well, I have. What I have here is the... I have the G4 Doorbell Pro USB adapter, the EA one. They've changed it again. There's a one that you can unplug and plug the USB cable in, which makes so much more sense than the one that they provided. There's certain things, obviously, yeah. I mean, it's great that it's USB-C, but it doesn't do anything. I mean, that's the thing. I'll try this one. I'll plug it back in again. I'm guessing it's because it's just a camera. Let's have a look. See if we get a camera, shall we? Might do. That's... No, it's picked up that one. No. Where's the options? There it is. So change camera. See if we get any options. No. Webcam. No, it's not picking it up. Again, it's not even ping. Normally I'm not even getting a ping. So I think that USB connection is custom. I wouldn't be surprised. It might, I mean, it might genuinely be this cable, but let me try. So, let's have a look just to see if anything does come up. Wait for the prompt. So, what am I looking for? Video, webcam, cameras. Right. So you can see that I've got the HD Pro, which is sat up there, and I've got the HDMI grabber, which is what pulling my video in. And I plug that in. Nothing. It's not picking anything up because I think it's probably using something custom over that. The speaker, on the other hand. So yeah, you can see it actually picks it up, and we end up with a USB advanced audio device. So let's see. Bear with while I add it. Let's go. Right, hold on. If I disappear, I'm just going to try and change to using the little mic. This is me talking into the little mic. This appears to work. I'm talking in using, there you go, the USB advanced audio device. So you can use this very expensive Ubiquiti Unify audio adapter as a microphone. Should you want to, you could disguise your microphone and record stuff. Let's go over here. How sensitive is it? I'd be interested. Well, I need to do some testing with the mic anyway, or I'll probably leave that to Cody to do some testing on this. But there you go. You can use this as a mic. I'm going to switch back to my Rode. Right, we're now back on this one. So it works as a USB mic. It doesn't have a speaker in it. Well, no, it has a speaker in it. You just can't use it as a speaker. Probably because, again, there may be some custom elements to these. Let's just see. Stand by for feedback. So obviously there it is on my phone. So yeah, the feedback works. I can talk in here. So the microphone seems to behave. And if I talk here, This is it working. That's the problem. You get a ton of feedback. I'd need to be out of the room. So it does behave quite well. I mean, it's quite loud as a speaker, but we'll see. You might get a bit more background noise because it has just started absolutely pouring down. Yeah, you'll be able to hear every single movement now because I've taken off the gate. I will work on getting that sorted. I need to do some testing with that because I keep changing settings around up here. But there you go. So, while you can't use these as USB-C cameras, you can, however, use the speaker as a microphone. But it doesn't seem to work as a speaker, or if it does, it's just not working right. I'll try again. Hold on. Let's see what happens. So. No, I'm not even getting the Windows noise ping, which I should get. You know what? I can live with terrible audio. I will endeavour to improve it. I mean, at the moment, I can see I'm bloody peaking it out now. So I will get that sorted. I need to get a limiter on it as well. I can hear all my clicks and everything now. But there we go. So, yes, the AI Theta and the Dreamwall are out. It's been quite an interesting week from the EA to fully fledged on the Ubiquity side. In other non-Ubiquity news, this one will impact probably none of you. But Sophos have changed how their licensing structure now works. It doesn't really impact us as a Sophos provider, but it does impact people. So when this will be one for anyone who's got any form of Sophos hardware that's actually got a general license, or they're using a Sophos device that is using the base license that comes with their hardware. So when the device now goes end of life, the base license will expire. Obviously, Sophos have changed the licensing as well, so that if you are running hardware that does not have a live support agreement on it, effectively a live license on it, you can't update the firmware beyond 3 times. So you get, if you bought it and it's on version 19, for example, you would be able to update it to 19.5.1, which is the current one, and 2 more times after that for free. But that's it. And then when they're actually end of lifing hardware now, they're not bricking it, because you can still use the hardware and load the software license on, but you lose the hardware base license now expires. That's one of the big changes that they have done. It's upset a few service providers who obviously have got some appliances that they've kept effectively as standby units, or they've bought them with the plan to hold on to them for a little bit and wait for the price to go up so they can sell them at a profit. But for us, it doesn't matter, because 90% of our firewalls are month by month charged anyway. But it might mean that you'll like this one, Jason, more Sophoses will be available secondhand. They're copying all the firewall providers, basically. Meraki, FortiGate, all of them have done it for ages. Sophos just have been slow. They're trying to they're just trying to match everybody else now. Whether it's HP or not, I mean, what unfortunately having to use HP is, well, you open yourself up to that torment. But yes, I mean, for home use, things like that, it won't impact you at all, because if you're using a Sophos like these in the lab, let's go back to I'm keeping my eye open for I'd like to find a 1.3 an XGS that I can strip down, because the ones I've got here I can't pop the lids on because obviously they're still in warranty and I don't want to risk it. I've got two 116s downstairs that are clients. I'll probably go live. Maybe it'll either be on YouTube or on TikTok at some point this week. Sorry, Jason, if you don't like TikTok, but I'll be live on a social media or many social media platforms if I can be asked to get that sorted. Because I've got two more mobile cases to build, and they're sat downstairs, and that's a XGS 116 with a 4G 4G module in them, and a mesh AP in them as well. So those will be coming soon. But yes, where is it? Have I got it up here still? My 106 is sat underneath, is under there. But I've got that's the next one I'll be doing to test to make sure you can do the home license on it by swapping the hard disk. The unit that is in there is the one obviously I'm using for videos at the moment. That unit I'll be moving down into its rack. I've got the other units scattered around still. I'm probably, again, when I get time, I will be doing the speed testing through it, because over here in the UK, 1 gigabit internet is becoming more common, but that seems to be the current upper level of speed, unless you're in an area that is got a standalone fiber network. I'm not it does appear that I'm not sure. You might be able to answer this one, Jason. In Canada, there does seem to be a big push up above a gig for, say, 2.5 and 5 gig. Seems to be becoming a bit more common. Again, stateside, it's obviously a bit like here. Depends where you live as to what you get. But with that push, obviously that means a lot of smaller router boxes are becoming unable to deal with the throughput. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see what we can push through hardware and software wise. That I think is going to be one of the big changes sort of over the next year or two. The interesting, I mean, the XG products that I have, they're all Intel, and the other reason I want to strip apart an XGS is because it's an AMD. I'd be interested to know what things like what network cards they're using in them, because obviously these are all, I think these are all mostly i210s, other than the 10 gig ports, which are, I think they're X710s in these. And if they've changed that for the AMD range over to, say, Realtek's, or if they're keeping with Intel's but just using Zen CPUs or Zen equivalent, not quite sure. I think they're using Zens. I haven't yet found who is manufacturing. I know all these are Caswell's. These units are the same as Checkpoint and Smoothwall. Also use Caswell as their base design. I'm trying to work out. I'm on a hunt as to who is currently producing the AMD units to see what specs they are, because you can effectively look up the rough chassis that these are based on and find out what is available and what they support. The AMD ones I haven't found yet, but I'm on the case. Yeah, this is, yeah, I mean, BT are trialing 2.5. I'm keeping an eye out, because obviously we are, as a MSP, we have partnerships with ISPs and we can supply broadband via them, but via ourselves. As soon as we find out an area if that we're supplying in that has the higher speeds, because a lot of the over here most of the networks are PON, so it's always asymmetrical. So like I'm on gigabit down, but I'm on 100 meg up. What I would love to be is on symmetrical with gig both ways. To do that would cost, I'd have to get a leased line in, and that will cost me about 350 quid a month, as against 70 quid a month. And that's one of the frustrations. We don't have that option in a lot of places over here. Because like for me, again, I host stuff here. That's something I'll touch on actually in a minute, because it'd be good to get some feedback on that. The irony being, a lot of the fiber network here, even their leased line net stuff, it's run over the same infrastructure. It's just obviously got different thresholds applied to it. And even then, the leased lines, there's not many people offering above a gig to be able to offer 10 gig. Because there's a few businesses we look after that would benefit from that, but then you have to go to specialist providers. Yeah, this is it. There's some private companies like where I am. I'm right down in the southwest corner of the UK in Cornwall. We've got a provider down this way that's building out a fiber network in certain areas. As you go up through the UK, there's different providers covering different chunks in different areas. There's some that cover areas in the whole of the UK all the way up in splodges. I mean, the issue, yeah, I mean, CGNAT is going to become a problem for certain services, but obviously for a lot of people it's no issue. If you're not hosting things, I do host stuff for ourselves, and when I'm bored, I'm on Twitch streaming. I host like our Minecraft server, Unreal Tournament servers, Satisfactory servers, things like that. I host them all here because if we've got problems, I can just restore the backups from them or add things in, things like that. That's something that I really want to touch base with. Like, I know I've when like Tom Lawrence has done things, he's mentioned about sort of games and stuff like that. It's no issue to spin them up here. I've already got a lot of them spun up. I think that would be actually quite a fun community thing, is to get some of the a group of the tech YouTubers and tech influencers on some retro gaming. Also, again, me being able to provide the small community like you guys, if you're like, well, actually I play a lot of, I mean, I have a Minecraft server up and running, and I can spin Minecraft servers up. They're only vanilla because I haven't got time to administer all the mods and everything like that. But we, the group that I play with the if you engage on Twitch, we're on our own Minecraft server, but it's one that at some point I will open up to the community, because as great as it is, having 4 or 5 people on your own Minecraft server is great, but getting more people on it leads to more creation on it, leads to more things happening. Cloudflare tunnels are a way around it, but they should be, obviously from a security side, yes, if you're accessing your own things. I mean, again, the difference is there is still a big move away from on-prem up into the cloud, and for certain things that's great. For certain other services, yes, there's a pull back, but then there's the whole communication between on-prem and in the cloud, and certain services, yes, will run over tunnels, certain won't, certain have issues with it. I've not played with Cloudflare tunnels yet. It's on my list of things to do. It's a very long list of things to do. The interesting aspect on that is I would be interested to know how Cloudflare tunnels behave, and what their MTU size limit is, and the thought process around that. If you've ever used ESXi vSAN and you've looked at things like NSX with ESXi, you have to be able to have larger MTUs. And I'd be interested to know if that would work over that sort of system, being able to have instead of a 1500 MTU, being able to have a 1600 or even a jumbo packet over a Cloudflare tunnel. I don't know if that's something that would behave. So there are nuances where it's a great idea, and there are services that still would rely on a good old fashioned point to point, or leveraging those sorts of services. I've come across things before where you need jumbo packets to be able to go across a link, and obviously if you want that link to be secure, but if you're stuck behind, say, CGNAT, how are you going to manage that, and can you get around these sort of things? So yeah, there's thought processes that bounce around that need to be looked at. Yeah, and again, this is it. There's limits with anything like that. There's always this thing, and I've noticed this actually from some influencers. I'm going to go influencers because we're just tech guys that do what tech guys do. We natter and play with shit. There's always this push to use the next thing. And I'm not about standing still, but like if you look, there's this big push like, oh, we need to use there was the push like, oh, we need to use WireGuard for everything. We need to use Cloudflare tunnels for everything now. We need to use this for everything. We need to use that for everything. Oh, that's how you and it's not that the old systems, like there's seems to be this thing where suddenly WireGuard's available, therefore IPsec is insecure and shouldn't be used anymore. And it's like, hold on a minute, whoa. IPsec suddenly hasn't become insecure, it's just become an older system. And then there's obviously, it's like OpenVPN again. It's like, oh well, actually no, we need to push on to something new. It's like, but OpenVPN is still secure, and there's nothing wrong with, particularly with using it. It works. Yes, every system has its overheads and limits. Yeah, I mean, for CGNAT, yes, there's certain systems that do need that sort of. But there just seems to be this, like, suddenly a new version of way of doing something comes along, and suddenly that's the right way, and that's the way you should do things from now on. Versus, hold on a minute, IPsec tunnels still work perfectly fine for a lot of companies, and they aren't going away. Or OpenVPN tunnels are actually quite happy to be worked with a lot of companies, and they aren't going away. But all of a sudden, like, WireGuard comes along, and yes, it's a great protocol and a great way of doing things, but so you shouldn't suddenly need to pick up and shift all your IPsec tunnels into WireGuard. It's something that does seem to be, it's more prevalent in the home lab scene, because there's this push to use the new and shiny things, versus the real world. And that's where I think then there's always needs to be the balance there. New and shiny, which is great, but might not necessarily be the way to go, versus this is how it works. So completely. Are you having trouble with the G4 doorbell working digital chime the way you set up the PoE? Was given firmware update by Unify and chime stop. I can't say we have. I mean, we're still running plenty of them out and about. Unfortunately, at the moment, mine's disconnected, so I can't tell you whether it's working or not. As far as I'm aware, they still are behaving fine. The other half, and I'm referring in a business sense, has one of these set up in exactly the same way, and he hasn't said it stopped working. So, I haven't got all the wiring unfortunately set up at the moment. I've got this up here because I've also got one of these up here as well. So I was going to do a quick side by side as to why actually this one is better in most situations than this one, not just because this one's easy to get and is available, but from a working real world perspective, this will do 99.9% of the jobs that you want, that people are trying to buy this one to do. So there are reasons why that's up here, annoyingly, but I can't test it at this exact moment. It was absolutely fine when I did the video the other day. The only thing I have found, sometimes if you are powering via DC, so if you're powering via PoE direct or passive PoE, if it stops working and they've changed something, reverse the cables in the chime box. The other one is to switch it over to mechanical and then switch it back to digital and make sure that the timer on the digital is slid all the way down low. Or you might even want to bring it up a bit. It's every single chime we've set up, it's been slightly different on the slider. So maybe you need to increase the digital timer slider up a bit. Let's just see if mine will work. Hold on, go back to my protect. As you can see, it's raining down here. There's my Doorbell Pro settings, chime. No, I can't change it. Sorry, I'm here, so I can't change any settings on mine because mine's not online. Hold on. Live troubleshooting. Let's plug it in. Is that live? Let's find out. There we go. Ironically, I can't talk to you about the adapter that I'm using for that, even though it's 99.9% identical to the adapter that has come out of EA, and is that adapter just with a USB-A port on the, or a USB-C port on the front of it. Cheers, Ubiquity. I'll just wait for that to come online a second. While I'm here, actually, I can get rid of you because, shock horror, I had a device go back under RMA and they already sent me a replacement and I've just not connected it up yet. The only thing that I have known is when you adjust the chime duration, we've had some where we've had to have them right down low on 1 second. We've had others where we've had to have them up a little bit. I can't do any testing of the chime because that requires power and I haven't got anything set up here. But that is the only thing I know of, really, that generally means sometimes you have to put the chime duration up to trigger the chime every time. If you're using the Honeywell adapter as well, it's always worth checking that the battery is reasonable because although they last a reasonable length of time, they do have a tendency to misbehave after when they go a bit flat. Oh look, mine's doing an update now as well, so there's obviously been an update. I will have to do some testing on that. Disco mode. And again, I tend to run my equipment, all my equipment is run in EA for myself because obviously I test so that our clients don't have to. Hence why we have quite the selection of weird and wonderful devices available to us. something I don't think this is on the normal ones yet, but up here, that being able to hop between all the different consoles. This is, I think, part of the latest EA firmware, but it's really, really useful. Let's just let it update itself. No, I haven't got anything. I'd love to be able to check, but I may do some testing anyway. I'll get one of the other doorbells we've got actually in service to check to make sure that's working. It's a shame. Sometimes he pops on while I'm streaming, and I could have shouted at him to go and test his doorbell, but he doesn't seem to be around at the moment. Let's see. Live troubleshooting. G4 Doorbell Pro. Come on, hurry up and update. It's booting up now. More than welcome. Again. This was just going some of the people that float between us what streams. Well, that's doing that. Yeah. So the Firewaller was one of the options that, again, I won't say I like these. These are great for really small home users who just want to get a little bit more of an eyes on as to what their network is doing, but don't need to go all out with everything, and also want a bit of child control, basically. I'm just waiting for this to update the doorbell. That was 2 updates in a row. It's doing another one now, so maybe there is something going on. But yes. This is my purple. It's still in a box and it's still sealed, and I need to open this up, and I'm going to do that a review on this. It's a bit of an older product now. I've had this for a while. I just haven't found a use for it because everywhere that needed a Firewaller, I've got Firewaller Blues in. And they themselves have been great little boxes. And before that, even the little reds. I've got a red, actually, I need to go and retrieve at some point from an office, because I don't think it's being used anymore. And as much as the complaint on these was you have to use a mobile phone to set them up. That was the big complaint against the Firewallers, was you had to use that. But that's the whole idea. They're not designed to be used in a... Yeah, these are not designed to be a full-blown business grade system. These are ideal for, again, someone who's got, for example, wants to swap a ISP provided router at home. There's 2 ways in which these work. The purple and above, so the purple plus and the gold are direct replacements. This has 2 ports, so you plug your internet in on one, your LAN's in on one side, and they authenticate and replace the router. Same with the gold. The blue and previously the red, I think they've retired the red. The red was one of their first products. It just hasn't got the processing power in it. They can either work, they've got a single net report on them. They can either work via using a VLAN to deal with, basically they fake a VLAN to deal with the internet to a certain degree, or they use ARP spoofing. So you plug them in alongside your existing router and they spoof the ARP address, which puts all traffic to go through them, and then they flow it through your main router, which is an interesting way of working, and it does work really well for a simple home network. If you need anything advanced, no, then the blue is no good. But if you're a small home user and you want to be able to, say, restrict when your kids are online, know when something new has been connected to your network, they are fantastic, because they work on the keep it simple, stupid principle. They are just so simple to use. Right, we're back up and running. Tea's ready. Oh, of course. Tea will be ready soon, so I will have to wind this up in a minute. So let me just see if they've done anything with the chime. No, same again. That would be my suggestion. Have a look at this. See if upping the duration on it. You could always start by putting the duration up to full and move backwards. What we found with duration up at full is it will start doing miss triggers, so it will start pinging away continuously on the chime, and then you bring it down until it stops. So yeah, I haven't got it set up, but I will have a look and I'll ask any questions about it. And if there's anything that I know is different, I'll put a post up on it. So we'll see. Let's just quickly have a look and see if there's anything new and shiny coming to the oh, you can stream just the package camera, nothing going on there. No, they still have this is the big complaint I have with the G4 Pro, and why a lot of the times I'll tell people that actually the normal G4 is actually a better device, because people buy the G4 Pro expecting that it's going to have like the ability to edit the screen and the fingerprint sensor and things like that, and they're just not available yet. So the only advantage that the Pro has got purely and simply comes down to the fact that it's got the package camera, and that's it. This camera here, for which, again, as I've said multiple times, most people in like the UK, we don't have porches to leave stuff on, so the package camera is mostly defunct. And you just want to be able to see what's going on the main camera, which is there. So put you up the right way. There you go. You can see this is welcome to my desk. Well, put you over there. There you go. There's another view of me. Yes. Yeah. These came along not long after the Thingbox. It's a very similar entity to the Thingbox, but let's have a let's go. Let's hop on the Firewaller website. The big selling point on these, there you go, there's a red. So you've got the red, the blue, the purple, and the gold. It's just down to basically what you want them to be able to do. Oh, we're on the blue plus now. So I've had quite a few blues go out into site, and they still work absolutely fine. The issue is they're tiny. I mean, these boxes are tiny boxes. They are effectively cut down Raspberry Pis. There's little ARM chips in them, SD card running the software. Yeah, yeah, you won't ever stop that. I mean, I'm lucky, but then my delivery people put stuff in a marked bin for me. So that's on 3 different CCTV cameras that I've got out around the building. So I don't use the package camera. The only reason I have the G4 Pro is because we bought that in EA. And I need it to make sure that when the new stuff does come along, I've got a device I can test it with. Versus I had the G4 doorbell in EA because we bought our original ones in from America because it was out in America 6 months before it was available over here, and then it came out over here about 3 months after we bought them. So we've been running them for a while, and then they appeared here in early access, and then they were in early access for another 6 months. I mean, yeah, these I'm just trying to think. So we've got gold and a gold plus now, purple and a purple SE and a blue plus. The reds have dropped off, so blue plus, purple SE, and so they've made a smaller version of the purple basically. So the purple SE is 1 gig, 3 gig, 5 gig. So yeah, it's just down to how much throughput you need. They are a great little device. Yeah, so production stopped end of life October 20th. So these two will be dying this year. So that's, again, they were a great solution because of how easy they are to use. The way I look at them as they're a plug and play method of being able to control access to your home internet, Wi-Fi, that anyone who can hold a smartphone can use, because literally you can fire the app up and with one button you can shut down your network. Literally for an hour you can have a quiet period that will stop anything, any mobile device. So if you've got kids, any tablets, any mobile phones, you could specify, actually it's quiet time, or it's time to go to bed, off you go, and it stops it. Keeps your devices working, but it allows you to do things like that. That's where the firewallers are really, really good. It's one thing that Ubiquiti doesn't actually have a solution for, because they don't target themselves to that particular segment of the market. Whilst they are home devices for certain aspects, they're not targeted at controlling like what children can view online. You can put restrictions in, and you could have a private network that's scheduled and can go on and offline, but there's nothing you can go off. You've been naughty, your internet is restricted for an hour, or until I turn it back on again. And they can't just go and try and sneak their way around it, because you can see every single device that's on the network. So as much as there's this whole it uses a mobile app, I'll state this, I get the Aruba Instant On kit, which actually I've got to get boxed up tomorrow because they're coming to pick it up. The Aruba Instant On kit all states that you're supposed to set it up with the mobile app. And if Jason is still here, I'm sure he'll come on and have a fit about how crap the mobile app is and that you should use the console. But as I showed him, the whole thing is stated to say set it up with the mobile app, and that's supposed to be enterprise Wi-Fi. So yes, these are really good, simple boxes. They're not designed to be a fully fledged high complexity solution. They are, the way I look at these are halfway between Ubiquiti kit and an ISP provided router or a basic TP link. This is what fits in the bit in the middle of there, and actually has functionality that you don't get in some of the more advanced kit, which to a certain degree is a bit baffling in this day and age. You should be able to do that. Not only that, these guys do, if you engage with them on Reddit and in social media, they'll listen and they take ideas on board. They were asked, is it possible to make the gold wireless? Exactly, but you can turn off the Wi-Fi at literally just not just turn off the Wi-Fi. You can turn off the internet for that device. You can narrow it down. You can say that tablet off, that phone off, or I want to restrict that phone as to what websites it can easily. And that's the key part. It's easy. Yes, it's all done through a mobile app. Yes, they do have a web console, and I have used it, and it's okay. It's not particularly amazing. Well, the last time I used it, it's probably improved. But again, it's about making things easy for the non-technical people, and that's sometimes what I feel does get forgotten. Not everybody is technical. Not everybody understands how systems work. What they want is something that allows them to do quite advanced features easily, and that's one of the things. It's why they do have quite a good fan base. I mean, so that's what they are. You have people who are fans of them because they're a product that fits their use case really well. So that's even why I recommend them as well. Is there is a segment in the market, and that's where they fit, and that actually they make sense in. So yes, there's as much as some people do turn their nose up at them, in the real world they have a use case and they work well for that use case. I mean, just their ability to block kids from accessing the internet, say like that device, that's your son, your daughter, their tablet. After 10 o'clock, I don't want them accessing the internet. After 10 o'clock, that device can no longer access the internet. It's that sort of thing, without having to sit there and say, you know what, I've got to create a wireless network for that, and it's got to be scheduled, and when it goes off, it turns off all the wireless networks. Actually, I want, well, that's the youngest, they go to bed at 9 o'clock, therefore their kit can turn off at 9 o'clock. That's the eldest, they can go to bed at 11 o'clock, and their kit turns off at 11 o'clock. It's that sort of thing. So it is simple to use, but is quite powerful, and that's the selling point, and that's why I will recommend them where I think they are right for the use case. I would not recommend things like a Ubiquity setup for someone who comes to me and says, oh, I want to be able to control my wireless networks for my children. That would be my recommendation for it. So yeah, the whole it uses a mobile app doesn't hold water with me. If you are not willing to investigate products like this, and then the simple, oh, it uses a mobile app to configure it, therefore I'm never going to touch it, that's, in my opinion, that's the wrong attitude to have. It should be a, does it solve the problem that I'm being presented with, and does it do it well? Yes, you may have to use a mobile app to configure it, not the end of the world. At the same time, where's its target audience? Well, its target audience is people that use mobile apps. I shouldn't have to log into a web page to turn off the internet. This isn't the early 2010s. I mean, I remember back when the internet started to become very much a popular thing throughout the UK, there was a lot of software products like this that came along to try and restrict access and things like that, and they were an absolute nightmare because they weren't simple to use. This is. So yeah, anyone who is looking for this sort of product, these guys are good. They know their target audience and they cater to it well. Again, they've got some quite advanced features built in because they've been asked for by their community and the people that are using it. I mean, it's, again, DNS over HTTPS, things like that. You wouldn't think about these sort of things, but actually, it's quite a specific request because, again, you may have to use systems like that. On the flip side, DNS over HTTPS is a very easy way to get around most firewalls if they've got DNS blocking on, because you just set DNS over HTTPS on your web browser and it chews through DNS blockers like nothing on earth, which is why you should always have an SSL inspector, because you can get around things very easily now with systems like that. So anyway, right. I am going to wind it up there because food, basically. Thank you, everybody, for coming and joining. I'm not sure quite when I'll be back on in terms of a live. I keep trying to do these on the weekends, but I'm juggling them around, trying to slot in with the amount of people that are streaming, to give you guys a break. You don't need to literally go, oh, I gotta watch that person, that person, that person, that person. Then that's like half the day gone on a Saturday, and then half the day gone on a Sunday. I am going to try again. If you follow me on TikTok, I'm going to try and do a couple more lives on there, actually doing stuff, because it's a bit easier to go and move around when I'm in places live on there. And again, for quick fire questions and when I'm doing opinions on stuff, it's easier on that than it is on other things, because a lot of the time trying to answer a question by typing a response doesn't get what's meant across as easily. And that, believe it or not, is TikTok's real plus point, is the fact that if someone asks me a question, I can answer it with emphasis and face to face almost with it. So yes, right, thank you for joining me. Appreciate everyone wasting their time with me. And I will see you all again, if not next weekend, probably the weekend after. I'll do my best to come back next weekend. And feel free to bang any questions, etc., comments, normal stuff. You'll find all my links in the videos, Discord, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, all the normal stuff. Just bang questions over, or suggestions. Suggestions are always appreciated. If you've got a how do I do this, and it's something, especially if it's involving things like Sophoses, I can do Sophos, I can do pfSense, OpenSense, all that. Jason, actually, if you want OpenSense guides, go have a look at Jason's Labs. If you're not already subscribed to him, he's doing some great stuff over there with the OpenSense stuff and some of the sensible bolt-ons to make it actually a sensibly managed service. So yes, go and investigate, and I will catch you again in the next one.